What's up everyone? In this video, I'm going to show how you can solve this medium level SQL interview question from Amazon called Finding User Purchases. And you can find this question on the StrataScratch website. So this question wants us to write a query that will identify returning active users. And a returning active user is defined as someone that has made a second purchase within 7 days of any other purchases. And what we want to do is that we want to output a list of user IDs of those returning active users. Let's check out what tables we have. We have one table, Amazon transactions, with the columns for ID, user ID, item, created at, and revenue. And let's check a preview of the table, which consists of all these columns here. Now, I'll say ahead of time that we don't need all the columns for our SQL query. We only need the columns for user ID and created at. So with that said, let's start writing out the query. First, I'm going to create a query that will output only the columns for user ID and created at columns. So I'll do an select user underscore ID, comma, created at from the table Amazon transactions. And when I run this, I get the outputs in this section here. Now you'll notice that we can have duplicate user IDs as we have 139 here. And if we scroll down, we have another 139 here. So this is one way to know if a user made multiple purchases, if there's multiple user IDs or multiple user IDs that are the same. And what we want to do next is that we want to be able to group all those duplicate user IDs together. And we can do that by using the order by statement. So I'm going to go to the next line and do order by user underscore ID. The next thing we want to do is that we also want to order the created at in the same way. That way we'll know if the next day is 7 days apart from the previous day. So I'm going to do created underscore at and press Alt Enter to run it again. And now we have all the data sorted based on user ID and then created at. So if we look at the created at column more carefully, we can see that in the second row, March 13 is 6 days after the first row of March 7th for the same user ID. And the same pattern applies for the third row, which is March 18, 5 days after March 13 for the same user. So what we can do is that we can create an additional column that will showcase the previous row in the third column. And then once we do that, we can calculate the difference between each date and find out which user made a purchase within 7 days. I'm going to use the Windows function lag to accomplish that. So after created at here, I'm going to do comma, and then I'm going to type out lag of the column we're referencing created at over order by the two columns we originally sorted, user ID and created at. And the next thing we want to do is that we want to also partition the data by user ID. That way we can take into account any unique values that might appear. Ergo, like if there's any users that did not make more than one purchases in any of the days. And I'll just label this as lagged previous date and do Alt Enter. And we get our desired column here. Now you'll see that in the lagged previous date column, we have the previous row appearing here now. So that way we can do a calculation where we can find a difference between each column here to find the number of days that the user did a purchase in. And to do that, we're going to use the dateDiff function for both of the columns. So right before created at here, I'm going to type out dateDiff, enclose everything here. And I'm just going to change the name, the alias I gave originally, to difference in dates. And if I do Alt Enter, we get a new output that will show the user ID here and the number of days between each purchase. So what we can do next is that we can use this query as part of a subquery. So I'm going to enclose this in a parentheses, and then I'm going to do select all from this derived table here as new Amazon transaction. And what we want to do is that we want to be able to filter the data based on the number of users where the difference in dates is less than or equal to 7. So I'm going to use a where clause where difference in dates is less than or equal to 7. And if I do Alt Enter, we get back these outputs here, which is much cleaner than before. And you'll see that we have we also have duplicate values here. So what we can do is that instead of referencing all, we can just reference user ID only, since that's what the question wants. And then we can enclose this in a distinct function. Press Alt-Enter, and we get back a list of user IDs who made purchases within 7 days, or unique user IDs made purchases within 7 days. So if I check solution, it'll be marked as solved, meaning that my query created the correct output. So I hope this video was helpful in solving the medium level SQL interview question from StrataScratch website. If you're interested in watching more videos where I attempt to solve these problems, then check out this video where I solved this hard level SQL interview question from Google called Top Percentile Fraud. Please like and comment down below what else you'd want to see, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.